The weekly update came out a few days ago, and with it, Bungie released the weapon tuning for the 2.0. This has been long awaited. The 2.0 update will release to Guardians in late September, preparing them for the Taken King. In this update, we cover generic weapons such as auto rifles, to hand cannons, shotguns, rocket launchers. It has exotic tunings and even a legendary. This is going to be a longer video, up to about half an hour, so I completely understand if you don't want to watch it. But if you want to know the stats and everything, they'll be on Bungie's page. Just look at the latest update. If you do want to stay, I'm going to give you all the stats and my opinions on everything and how I think this will change the game. Sit back and relax. First off, we're going to start with auto rifles. At the minute, auto rifles kind of suck. They're not good for anything. They took a 19.5% damage reduction, and now they're just kind of meh. I don't really use them at all. PvP, they're not viable. PvE, they're not viable. I'd rather use a pulse rifle or a hand cannon. So what are Bungie going to do? They're going to up the base damage. Naturally, this is good. It affects all auto rifles. They're just going to gain a flat damage buff. This is good. But Bungie want to emphasize the drop off closer to the player. So they're going to make auto rifles feel more like a close to mid-range weapon. They don't want them to be long range anymore. Weapons like Surus Regime back in its day, you could snipe players really far in PvP and in PvE as well. So they're going to make the drop off more noticeable with their new sandbox which they've got. This is good naturally because scout rifles are supposed to be for long range, not auto rifles. It just puts the weapons where they're supposed to be, but also it makes sure that the auto rifles are good where they are. They're also going to have a small stability drop off. This is just to help with long range so you can't be as accurate. Also, they're going to take a 10% increase to PvE. This doesn't affect PvP, but will affect AI. Naturally, this is good, and I think that auto rifles are going to get back in the meta a bit. Now for pulse rifles. With the House of Wolves update, they got really good. Like, really good. Red Death and Bad Juju, really viable exotics. Even stuff like Oversoul Edict and PvP, the higher fire rate ones. They're all really good choices. But they're taking a slight nerf because they're a bit too powerful. Medium rate of fires are going to take a 2.5% damage reduction. This won't affect PvP that much. It's going to make it that pulse rifles are going to be a 2 or 3 burst if you hit them in the head. What they want is armor stat to matter. Armor does change the amount of health you have in PvP, but not by a lot. And they want that to matter. So if you've got a low armored warlock, you should be able to kill him in 2 bursts to the head. But if you got a high armored titan, you're going to kill him in 3 bursts to the head. They're also taking a nerf to stability. This is so in the longer ranges they're not going to be as effective. They said that you can still hit all shots to the head, but it's just going to take a bit more skill. This just means you're going to have to be better with your pulse rifles. It won't affect it that much. They're also increasing the magazine, which is good. Naturally, more bullets in your mag is good. Overall, I think auto rifles are going to get back in the meta, and pulse rifles are going to be just brought down a peg or two. This is a very good start. Now for hand cannons. You see them everywhere. You go to PvP, what's that? Fawn and Last Word. PvE, naturally, you go for Fatebringer. Hand cannons are really good, but they're taking a nerf. It isn't that bad though. They're having an increased fall off to the damage. That means the long range lethality isn't going to be as much. This isn't that bad. It makes scout rifles more, useful. There's going to be a point to them, because hand cannons can hit where scout rifles can. And obviously that's not good if you've got a weapon type meant for long range engagements, and a hand cannon can do mid, close and long. You'd only really use them. So they're taking increased fall off. It's not that bad. Small reduction to ADS accuracy. They said that it won't affect mid to close range, but will affect long range. Again, this isn't bad, this just affects the long range lethality. It means that you can't snapshot, where you aim down the sights and your target will instantly snap to an enemy. In the background, it won't be as effective and as reliable. You're taking a reduced hip fire. I don't see why they did this, but it doesn't really affect hand cannons that much. I'm not going around hip firing my Fatebringer that much. I'm generally aiming down sights with a hand cannon. But it's there, you're getting a reduced hip fire. You're also having a reduced magazine. That's not that good because normally you want hand cannons which have a lot of magazine. There's them rare occasions where you get a fulcrum and you want it to have lower magazine because you've got luck in the chamber and final round. But other than that, reduced magazine isn't that good. It's also having a reduced zoom, which is kind of a buff considering all this change to its long range. You don't really want it to be zoomed in anymore if you can't attack in the background that much. Overall, hand cannons are taking a nerf, but it isn't that bad. Now for scout rifles. At the minute, scout rifles are meh. They're alright, but I'd rather use a pulse rifle or a hand cannon. But they're getting a really big buff, and this is good for them. Scout rifles like Vision of Confluence and Fang are good at the minute, but with this, they're going to get even better. Mid to high fire rate, scout rifles are going to get a damage increase. It doesn't affect time to killing PvP to a high armored target or to a full health target, but will increase their damage. It still means that you need the same amount of shots to kill, but if the target's weakened, you may need one less bullet. Naturally, that's good. They're getting an increased magazine. I'm not sure how that'll work with like Fang and Vision when they have a 27 mag with Field Scout, which takes it to the max, but ah well. Reduced hip fire. This doesn't matter that much because I'm not going up into their faces with my Fang and hip firing. I'm generally sat in the back line shooting and picking them off. That's what scout rifles are for. So reduced hip fire isn't that much of an issue. They're also taking a 5% damage increase to all AI. This is good. I mean, obviously it's not bad. Taking a 5% damage increase to AI enemies, it'll help a lot, especially with the mid to high fire rate scout rifles with their damage increase. Vision and Fang are definitely going to be viable, maybe even competing with Fatebringer. This is good for scout rifles. PvP, Felwinter's Lie, the Matador, Party Crasher, Judgment 6. PvE, the Dry Rot, the Universal Remote, any shotgun really. They're really good shotguns at the minute, especially since they took a 100% increase in PvE, which made them viable. Before they weren't that good. Now, it's really good to use them in strikes. It's a viable strategy to get an entire team to use it against the strike boss. But they're taking a really big nerf. Mainly to the perks, but a little bit to the PvE aspect as well. Shot package accuracy is being nerfed by 30%. Shot packages, when you aim down the sights, the spread is tightened. That means it's going to be a 30% widen of the spread. It's going to hurt it a bit, but I still think shot package is going to be the viable perk to go for, especially to the nerf of rangefinder. When you aim down sights, your pellets would travel 20% further. Now they're only going to travel 5% further. 5% isn't a lot, especially when you consider the range of a shotgun. Really small, plus 5%, that's not a lot at all. I really don't think I'm going to be using rangefinder, and I'm probably going to re-roll my shotguns now to get shot package. For the PvE side, precision damage is being reduced by 10%. Naturally, that's not good. Reduced AI damage by 10%. Again, that's not good. I still think they're going to be usable in PvE, don't get me wrong. It's probably still going to be one of the best strategies to get an entire team and spray it with the 4th Horseman. But it's definitely going to take a little bit longer and maybe a few more bullets. Now for fusion rifles. Fusion rifles, who uses them? I don't really know. I don't use them myself, and I don't know if my friends use them. And they're taking a nerf. I would have expected a buff, but no, they're getting a nerf. Slow charge high impact ones are getting a decreased range. I heard in PvP for people sniping with fusion rifles, I can see why they did that. But still. Projectile speed is being reduced, it means you have to lead your targets a bit more. That'll just take getting used to. It's not much of a nerf, but it's just gonna mean you're gonna have to get used to fusion rifles again a bit. Short range fusion rifles are getting an increased accuracy, whereas long range fusion rifles are getting a decrease in accuracy. I don't use fusion rifles, so this isn't going to affect me much, and I'm not sure how fusion rifles perform, so I'm not sure how this will affect the game. The only question that I have is about the Vex Mythoclast. It's a fusion rifle, that's a primary. It classes as a secondary. It acts like an auto rifle but has the damage of a scout rifle. I'm not sure how this is going to affect it. Like, I presume it's a long range fusion rifle, so is it accuracy going to go down? I think it's a high impact scout fusion rifle. So does it mean it's going to have a decreased range? I'm not sure. We'll have to just wait for the patch to come out and then find out. Rocket launchers are next. As Bungie say, you find a purple brick, you load your rocket launcher, you blow shit up. That's it really with rocket launchers. But they feel like they need to affect a bigger group. So they're going to have a bit increased blast radius. But they're taking a slight nerf in the more of the PvP side. They feel like grenade and horseshoes makes rocket launchers a bit too easy and you're just a bit too much careless. So the grenades and horseshoes radius is being decreased. That's not much of a nerf to be honest, it just means you're going to have to be a bit more skilled with your rocket launchers and don't be a complete noob. Next up, snipers. Literally nothing has affected snipers at all, other than final round only activates for precision damage. This means people in Trials of Osiris firing their 2 rounds first and they're getting their final round. Doesn't matter because it only affects precision where it's a 1-hit kill anyway. So snipers aren't taking that much of a nerf. The only reason this is happening is because people couldn't play nice with their spears. So you're going to hear about people putting away their spears and pulling out their Felwinters like... Wait, no, that was nerfed as well. Shit. The hard light. No one really uses this gun. I don't think anyway. I don't. But I might do with this new update. Its base stability is going from 65 to 80. It's one of those fast fire rate auto rifles which are a bit hard to control, so this is good. It's saying they're going to add more bounce to the projectiles. It means they can hit more walls before they'll disappear. Again, this is good, especially in those close quarters situations where it can bounce from the walls. It says that the hardlight's projectiles aren't affected by fall off. I presume this means that the weapon has no fall off. It means the bullets can bounce around and they won't get any damage reduction. If that is, that's really good. It's a good buff to the hardlight. It means it might even be viable in PvP. Not competitively, but it's not going to be like, oh, hardlight's a joke to use and oh, I got killed by that, wow, I must suck. If you're in close quarters and you're in a room, the bullets could bounce around and they would hit the target for like the 20 damage that it does. It could work. I'm excited to see what this weapon brings us. Necrochasm's getting a buff, obviously. This weapon isn't worth the amount of struggle you have to go through to get it. But what buff is it getting? It's an alright one. It's getting a stability buff from 40 to 60. It's getting an increased magazine, which it desperately needs, especially because it's a high fire rate one. The Cursebringer perk will now always activate when you get a precision kill. Before it was only a 70% chance of it activating. It should have always been 100% in my personal opinion, but at least they're changing it now. Also, the Cursebringer explosion is being increased, and it also does more damage. Now, this still isn't going to be a viable strategy, a viable gun to use, but with the auto rifle update and Necrochasm being buffed, it might be fun to use, especially with the Cursebringer getting those chain kills. It's going to be an alright gun, but still not worth it. Next up is The Last Word. Excuse the gameplay in the background, it kinda sucks, but it was way too much effort playing another game and trying to get good clips with this gun. We all know it's good anyway. Do you think I put effort into these YouTube videos? Anyway, what's the nerf that's going to happen? It's going to be reduced range from 20 to 10. It's also going to have a reduced stability from 30 to 20. Last Word is supposed to be an up in your face, hip fire, get the damage done, get out. It's not supposed to be, lol, I hit you across the map aiming down sights for a 111 headshot. That's not what it's supposed to be. Bungie are now changing it so how they want the weapon to be and how they envisioned it. It's getting an increased accuracy and precision damage aim assist when firing from the hip. It's going to make the hip fire a lot better and easier to use and, you know, make the gun useful for what it's supposed to do. They also fixed the bug where you hip fire, where the hip fire buff is inappropriately applied, like when you're aiming down sights. This gun needed a nerf for a long time. It dominated in PvP, and I still think it's going to be a viable gun to use. It's just going to take a lot more skill and getting up in people's faces. It's definitely going to be used with blink, so watch out for it, but it's definitely not going to be 111 headshots across the map anymore. And the other exotic hand cannon is getting a nerf as well. Yes, the Thorn. Well, in PvP anyway. PvE it's actually getting a buff and it's very interesting. I definitely want to play with the Thorn when the new patch comes out. So what's happening to it? The Mark of Devourer damage is being reduced to a third. That means it's only going to do 2 or 3 damage in PvP. This means that you won't be able to tap someone in the head twice and let them burn to death. Basically, what the Mark of the Devourer is now going to do is just stop people from regenning their shield. If they run around the corner, the dot is just going to give you a few extra seconds to get to them and hope that their shield hasn't regened. This is good because Thorn is definitely overpowered in PvP, but Thorn is still going to be a viable gun to use. It's one of those nice hand cannons where it's got the nice amount of damage for the nice amount of range. And with the damage over time just stopping the shields from regen, it's also a bonus. So how are they buffing it in PvE? The damage over time can be stacked up to 5 times. That means the damage output is being increased by 67%. If you can apply because the damage does a third of it, if you can apply that 5 times, that means you're going to do 5 out of 3 for the damage, which is a 67% increase. I really want to get a full team and go against Atheon. Everyone just using the Thorn against him. Overall, I think these are very, very good changes. Thorn isn't the best in PvE, it's still a good hand cannon, but I think this is going to make it shine definitely a lot more, because against mages, you wouldn't really do much. The damage over time would just pretty much tickle at their health, and for the lower tier enemies like Dregs and Thrall, you'd instantly kill them, so the damage over time was just completely wasted. But now that you can stack it up to 5 times the mages, it's going to do a little more than tickle away at the health. And it's been nerfed in PvP, so goodbye. You'll probably still straight in trials, but goodbye for those 2-hit headshots as you run around the corner trying to get to your teammates because you know you're going to die. This is definitely a good update for the Thorn. Last but not least, with the third exotic hand cannon, Hawkmoon. Yes, I'm not using a Hawkmoon here, it's the Fulcrum. I'm on Xbox, I don't have the Hawkmoon, so the Fulcrum will do. What's happening? Well, you could have all 3 of the lucky bullets from the Hawkmoon stack onto one bullet, and that would be a 1-hit headshot in PvP. Naturally, they're gonna get rid of this because that's bad. If you can't react to something, it makes it for really boring in any FPS. So the stack limit is only 2 on a bullet now. This means there's no more 1-hit kills. Kinda sad because I wanted to have it for myself, but it's obvious why they're doing it. With the Holding Ace perk, which adds 2 of the lucky bullets, they're also adding 2 rounds. This increases the magazine, but also makes the bullets more likely to be spread apart and less likely to be stacked on top of each other. Also, the luck in the chamber bullets damage is being reduced by 3%. I'm not sure why they're doing that, because they're getting rid of the 3 lucky bullets on one bullet. So I'm not sure why they're doing it, but I can see why the nerfs they've done, and that's Hawkmoon. Next up we have Icebreaker. I'm going to read what Bungie said because they pretty much nailed it. We've all done it, hunkered down at the back of the map with your lunchbox, picnic table and a sci-fi paperback. And an Icebreaker. Kill the enemies, wait for more to show up, kill those ones too, put a few shots in the boss, make a sandwich, finish the strike, then collect your ward that isn't Hawkmoon and move on. The recharging ammo of the Icebreaker has become a staple for the PvE game. We don't want to completely destroy that, because a really great thing happens when all of a sudden you need an Icebreaker and you're still waiting on that next round to show up. In that moment, there is an interesting tension at play. You think how you're going to spend the next few seconds while it recharges. We're simply going to amplify that tension by increasing the recharge rate by a few seconds. See, Bungie are just being good guys. They know the tension's good and we all enjoy it a little bit inside. So they're just making that intention by taking it from 5 seconds to 8. It's only going to take 48 seconds to have a full mag instead of 36. Bungie are just being good to us, really. No Land Beyond. This gun is pretty much a joke. Bungie wanted it to be a run and gun, shoot them in the face in the PvP and run away. Nope, it's just really shit and you'd use any other sniper than this. Plus it's a primary. I don't know what they were thinking with this. Anyway, it's getting a buff, obviously, but they're not that good. It's getting increased handling, so you can aim down sights faster, you can ready the weapon faster, and you can put the weapon away faster. I can see why you'd want to put it away faster. The Master perk lasts for 8 seconds now. I'm not sure how long it lasts at the moment, but I never get a kill with it in the first place, so I wouldn't know how to activate the perk. The Master perk also gets a 20% extra damage to precision. Like again, you're never going to be able to activate this perk, and even if you did, it's just, there's so low ammo, it's just, there's so much wrong with this weapon which they could have buffed. Maybe make a little less sway when you're walking, maybe increase the ammo, maybe increase the mag size, maybe reduce the time between bolt pulling. Even if you use the speed reload cheat, it's still not a good gun. I don't know why they didn't change anything that the community wanted about this weapon. They kind of just made it a little bit less of a joke, but it's still a hilarious one at that. So that's No and Beyond. It may not be an exotic, but it's being affected by this 2.0 weapon change. It's getting a buff and a very big nerf. The buff is the ammo capacity in reserve has gone up to 18 rounds. The nerf is the white nail perk now takes from your reserve ammo instead of magically making bullets out of midair. Everyone's mad about this. Well, most of the community are anyway. They're saying that the Black Hammer's now useless, it's the worst weapon ever. Fucking hell, Bungie, why did you do this angry typing keyboard warrior stuff? I still think the Black Hammer is one of the best snipers, and will be the best sniper in PvE. I mean, what other sniper are you going to use other than Black Hammer? Praedyth's Revenge? It's more of a PvP one. I mean, there's LDRs and stuff like that, but what other sniper can you constantly hit 18 times in a row? You can still crit lock the boss for a good 45 seconds to a minute. It's going to be a really good sniper still. I think everyone's just exaggerating a bit too much. Next up is the Lord of Wolves. I don't have the Lord of Wolves, so you're just going to have to stare at my Elder Cypher for a bit. What Bungie want this weapon to be like is a strike weapon. Your fire team sticks close together, the pack leader who has the Lord of Wolves will get kills and everyone has massive health regen. But the recovery boost wasn't enough, so they tripled it. Yep, that's it, they just tripled it. I'm not sure how much of a buff this is going to be. It was just noticeable, the recovery boost, and now that it's tripled, it may be viable to everyone stick close together, shotgun them, and with the recovery gain your health really fast. We'll have to see how this works, but the Lord of Wolves is a solid gun, and this only makes it better. Last but not least, the Gjallarhorn. Yeah, the Gjallarhorn has finally been nerfed. You know it's bad when you have a new activity and everyone's reaction to it is to just Gjallarhorn the boss to death. This isn't good, especially when it comes to LFG. Groups are looking for people who only have the Gjallarhorn, and when you have a game like Destiny where exotics are handed out as random lords, not everyone's going to have 5 Gjallarhorns like myself. So, Bungie have decided to nerf the Gjallarhorn. This is definitely overdue. It just dominates everything, and I'm glad it's going to be nerfed. I still think it's going to be a viable strategy to use the Gjallarhorn. It's not as if it's going to be bad or anything. It will do the damage of a rocket launcher, it has tracking, it has great hidden grenades and horseshoes, plus it still has the Wolfpack rounds, it's just not going to hit for 2 rockets. And that is your update for all the weapon changes and my opinions on them. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and until next time, Guardians.